Yo, what is the crack, guys? So we're going to run through quickly Adrian's peak from last weekend at the Ukbff. Just using Adrian as an example, and literally just a case study. Give out a wee bit of information and hopefully help somebody along the way as they just show the process that we went through basically last week with Adrian. Quick background on Adrian. Adrian coming in, first time going into bodybuilding. So basically first time nailing this level of conditioning before. So for him it's always going to be a challenge to get down to that level of detail, obviously through the hamstrings, through the glutes, through the legs. Which we did do, we had nailed pretty much from the 3-week out mark. So like I always try to have clients ready a wee bit early. Gives you a wee bit of buffer to drop off a bit of fatigue, you know, freshen up the physique and then just follow back out slightly. Just leaves the peaking very, very simple. Once you're ready, you're ready. If you try and peak a physique that's not ready, it's very difficult. So Big Adrian was a wee bit tricky because a few weeks out, obviously Adrian had a lot of stuff going on. He went off a diet for a few days, which left us in a bit of a situation where we needed to drop off a lot of fluid, wee bit of body fat and a wee bit of fluid from the 10-day out mark. So basically what we done to start off our peak week is we did do a fat load. Now, fat loads aren't essential by no means. Where's the benefit lie really? Obviously you can fill the muscle cells, triglycerides, but you can also prime the body for carbohydrates as well. In this instance with Adrian, I used it as an example, as a chance to pull off that extra wee bit of body fat. I also used it as a chance to basically dry the physique off slightly. Now what you'll find when you're peaking somebody, if you start from a point where they're bone dry, like they're really dry and they're really crispy, you'll get back to that point relatively easy. If you start with a watery physique and a physique that's still holding excess body fat, to try and get that dried off, get it filled up and get it dried off again can prove very difficult. So for me, the most important thing here at the start of the week was get that physique dry. Like try and get it dried off, you know, and that's the fat load for Adrian really was another 2 days for me to chip into a wee bit of a deficit really. We ran, I have it here in front of me, we kept the cardio on with 10k steps and we cardio 20 minutes. And we ran the fats at 140. So it was just running in around 2,500 calories, 2,600 calories, which for Adrian, he's still in a deficit there. So it's a fat load, but ideally I was pulling that extra wee bit of body fat off him, drying him out slightly, getting him ready for the load. Which left us, we did a 2-day fat load. Wednesday, Thursday was our carb load. So basically here, we actually dropped out the clean as well. So any fat burners that's in there, we drop out. Dropping out the clean, if you are taking clenbuterol on peak week, dropping out the clean can help aid the carb process. If you keep clean on high, it can interfere with the carb load and how the carbs are absorbed. So always bear that in mind. Leave yourself in a position where you can afford to drop that out. Water at this point was increased to 7 litres. Steps 10k, no cardio. And basically we ran 720 gram of carb. Now please bear in mind here, everybody's different on the carb amounts. Adrian wasn't super flat, so 700 we actually put on I think about 1.5 kg, 2 kg here at this point the next day. Thursday came, we ran 7 litres again, sodium's constant, steps still 10k, no direct cardio, and carbs tapered off slightly based off what we seen. So obviously he put on a fair wee bit of weight, so we tapered off. Went a wee bit conservative and we went up for 630 grams. Like at the end of the day we still have fats in here as well, bear in mind. 40-50 grams of fats in here just to kind of slow things down slightly. Friday, which is us now a day out, steps is down to 7k, so we're reducing activity further. Water still 7 litres, but I chose to stop the water at 4 p.m. Gauging, we're on stage at around 1:32 p.m. The water has been stopped at 4 p.m. on the day before. So we have 7 litres flushed down before 4 p.m. We've also added peak max in at 3 caps per meal, just to aid the diuresis. Sodium is being halved, meal 1, 2 and 3. And then after meal 3 it's cut, it's out. Caffeine is also high for the first half of the day. So again the caffeine is just there to push out that extra wee bit of fluid. Carbs was in for the first 3 meals, so we kept the carbs in, kept the fats in the first 3 meals. The final 3 meals we moved, we went to pro fats. Reason being is we just wanted to get dried off at this point, just dry off that extra wee bit. Obviously we're still at slightly maintenance calories, so we've done our full. The physique's full, we want to maintain that. So that's basically the thing behind that. We don't have to cut carbs completely. And then show day, basically he woke up pretty dry. And at this point, We put another 3 peak max in. At this point there's no water with meal 1, we just had an espresso. So we had some coffee, we had 3 peak max in there, no sodium, no water at this point. Meal 1 consisted of some chicken breast, almonds, dark chocolate and a few rice cakes. Literally just protein and fats, meal 1. The reason we don't add sodium at this point is there's still a bit of drying off that can be done. Once you start adding the water and the sodium back in again, if not using diuretics, you will not continue to dry off. So basically at that point we didn't put any in. This was at 7 AM. 9:30 AM we ran some chicken, some rice, we put in some almond butter, rice cakes and jam. And at this point we did 2 turns of pink salt, 3 peak max again just to keep the water pushing, and we've added in 200 ml of water. Meal 3, which is the meal before the stage, so approximately an hour and a half before stage. This is the point where we put 300 ml water in. So again, we've put more water in. We've now put the 4 turns of pink salt, we put the sodium back in, peak max only 2 caps this time, and we've ran like a higher carb meal with simple sugar. So we've ran rice cakes, we've ran jam, and we've ran some Haribos. Reason being at this point is the drying off process is done. You're getting as dry as you're really going to get at this point. Now obviously I've seen him in person, I know how dry it was at this point, and I chose to put this meal in. Once he's dried off fully, at this point now we're just kind of refining that last wee top up of fullness, and putting the water back in again and putting the salt back in again. At this point you have to remember, electrolytes like this is instant. You don't have to wait till they shuttle back in. It's literally in the bloodstream, it's instant. So you can make changes to the physique very, very quickly with water and sodium on show day. The fast digesting carbs obviously is there just to kind of pick them up, give them that wee bit of energy, and just top them off nicely as he pumps up, and then like it's in 90 minutes pre-stage. The timing of this is kind of critical. And after that it was just literally no more food, good pump backstage, sip water backstage, and bang, lo and behold, big man was full, he was dry, he was hard, and he was as good as he was going to get. So that is the crack, guys. A pretty detailed overview, and a quick overview obviously. Subject to change for every single person. This is not set in stone. This is just person dependent, but this is what we did for Big Adrian. Obviously I've overlaid some pictures along the way so you see the process and see how he landed. Anybody's any questions, just ask. Hopefully it helps somebody, gives a wee insight on how you can do things.